See if we can do it. You guys care if I do it? Here we go. What up, YouTube? What's going on, everybody? The White Ninja 636 here. We are actually from Starved Rock right now with a lot of angry people. We're trying to make a video. Bash 41, that was for you. Okay, all right, we don't have to say that out loud. All right, we get it.
I'm on film, right?
Yeah, you're on field. This is going on. I just feel like, how many bugs you guys take in the face? Yeah? All right, thank you. How can you, oh, okay. I mean, because you get some big bugs up here, and I just feel like you could feel that, right? Yeah.
Literally piggybacking off my last vlog, and we're going to talk about your thoughts on different classes of motorcycles. Classes, styles, you know, whatever you want to talk about. Most of you know I came from a 300, and it was my very first bike. I learned on a Harley 700 something, 750 street bike of some type. It was kind of new, like the other year. I don't know. Maybe I'll post a picture or something of it. Who knows? So I learned on one of those. Then I got a 300, and you know, I met Strike and Bodog pretty soon after I got my 300. You know, and we were the guys that rode together and still ride today. We get along awesome, which is great. We talk daily, so it's super cool. But when I got a 300, we talked about it, and I was like, no way in hell does anybody ever need to buy, in any situation possible, a leader bike. And I just was like, it's the dumbest thing in the world for somebody to have a leader bike. Like, what are you gonna do with all that? Keep in mind, you know, it was the first time on a bike, for the most part. The 300 is the first thing I drove on a street. You know, I thought it was plenty fast at the time. That being said, a couple months later, I was like, this isn't fast enough, I want a 636. So I got a 636. And since then, the first couple days that I had the 636, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stand by my case, and I was like, a leader bike is just 100% unnecessary. And then after, you know, a couple weeks of owning the 636, I was like, maybe not. And now I'm at the point where, first off, I don't even think a 600 is, like, necessary. Like, a 300 does everything just fine, a 500 does everything just fine, a 650 does everything you need just fine. So the argument between, like, a 600 and a leader bike, in my view, is kind of interesting, because both will get you in trouble. You know, both are very quick and everything like that. So obviously a leader bike's gonna have a higher top end speed that it'll reach and stuff like that. But aside from that, I mean, you can get, in the view of the law, you can get an equal amount of trouble on a 630 or on a 600 bike compared to a leader bike. I mean, that's just, if you're going 150 miles an hour and you get pulled over somehow, they're not going to care if you're on a 600 or leader bike. 150 is 150, and both bikes can do it, you know. So like I've said, my opinion has actually pretty drastically changed. It went from why would anybody want to do it to, you know, I kind of see why people would do it. And like a lot of people, I don't commute on my bike. My bike is simply a toy that I get to play with during the summer months and pretty much on the weekends. I mean, and that to me is really all it is. It is literally a toy. So does it have to be practical for me? Absolutely not. And if your dream bike is a leader bike of some type, an R1 or a Ducati or whatever it might be, and you feel comfortable getting one after, you know, you've ridden a little bit, dude, by all means, go get one. It's your bike, it's your choice. You don't have to have anybody else's approval to get something that you really like. I got plenty of things that I don't need, but I wanted them, so I got them. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. If you have something that you love, keep in mind that you have to be able to handle it. It is quicker. Will I ever be able to use the full power of a leader bike? I mean, odds are probably not. I'd probably take it to the track eventually and do stuff like that, but I would never be able to tap into its full potential. And I'm aware of that. But a leader bike to me, overall, my view on it has just changed so significantly in the past, like, 2 or 3 months that it's hard to fathom. So a lot of riders out there, especially the new riders who hear about leader bikes, are probably gonna have the same opinions that I had when I first came out. And again, 100% by no means of any reason will you need a leader bike. You just won't. But there's some leader bikes that look awesome, and you know, look is important for a bike for people. If they don't like the look of the bike, there's so many options, they'll get a different bike with the same type of engine, styling, and everything. I mean, looks is important, and if your favorite look is on a leader bike, and you've already, you know, had your experience and you feel comfortable on it, go get one. And I'm sure there's like other little arguments. I know Jake the Garden Snake and Motonosity had 2 videos talking about the complete polar opposite sides. Jake the Garden Snake was 100% opposed to leader bikes and thinks they're pretty useless. And obviously Motonosity has an R1, and he chose it after an R6, after his first R6 got stolen. And he loves his bike. He said he wouldn't change a thing about it, and he's given his opinions on it and stuff like that about why. I mean, there's a couple like actual reasons, like you get better gas mileage, it's a little heavier so you don't have to worry about getting pushed around as much from the wind and stuff like that. I mean, there's a couple minor reasons that are reasons, but they're not like the reason to get a leader bike, you know. I mean, yeah, there are probably a couple like economical reasons to get one, a couple of safety things maybe. But in general, it's really just a preference. And it's okay for people to have different opinions. If person A thinks that leader bikes are dumb and person B doesn't, person B get a leader bike, person A don't, you know? So I'm just really interested to hear people's opinions on a leader bike. I know in the last video I mentioned, you know, post up what bike you had because I really don't know what people ride. So it would kind of give me a little perspective if you guys post another one, I'll be watching and looking at every comment. You know, and commenting back for those who actually have something comment back worthy, you know. But, you know, if you're pro or con, maybe if you could just slip on briefly what you ride, even if you just like put the CC bike or something like that, you know, it kind of help to see people's opinion. Obviously, people with leader bikes are going to be pro leader bikes, or else they wouldn't have one. And people with, you know, 300s are most likely going to think that leader bikes are just crazy. By no means do I feel out of control on a leader bike. If I was to just open the throttle up completely and just see how fast I could go, that might get a little uncomfortable. You know, I don't know where the front wheel is going to pick up and stuff like that, but, you know, that's something you learn over time, obviously. Same with the 600 for that matter. I didn't know when I could really give it all. You know, really just rip the throttle. When I got the 600, I didn't really know, you know, when I could just completely roll on the throttle and feel safe. You know, now I do, because that comes with a little bit of experience and some time. It'll be the same on a leader bike, you know. That window's going to be greater and stuff like that. The one thing that I did agree with as far as being against the leader bike, that Jake the Garden Snake mentioned, and I'll try to remember to put both their links in the description so you guys can check out their different videos and their perspectives on it. You know, it might help you be persuaded one way or the other. Maybe you're looking at getting a 600 or a leader bike, I don't know, but it might help you. But Jake the Garden Snake mentioned that he's like, on a leader bike, when you're in a twisty environment, you know, like in the mountains or something like that, and you're doing a lot of turns, the art, if you will, the art of the turn, you know, is really being able to get your line right, rolling on smoothly through the turn. And he's like, on a leader bike, there's just so much more room for error, which I completely agree. On a 600, if you come through a turn and you're rolling the throttle, you know, you could probably have like this much give of throttle before you really get in trouble. But on a leader bike, if you twist that throttle too much, I mean, your end is just going to swoop from under. So that's one thing I get. You need to have a little bit more control of the throttle. So that was actually a pretty decent point. Aside from that, though, I think, you know, arguments could really be made for any case. You know, that's just me, though. I'm not against it. In fact, I think at some point in my life, I'll probably end up owning a leader bike. If I had to guess, I would actually really like to keep my 636 forever. I know it's been in an accident now, it's getting repaired, but I mean, that's just a great bike. The only downside about keeping that is, would there really be a need for a leader bike in a 600, you know? So yeah, let me hear your comments on the leader bike debate. Now, like the H2 is just insane. I'm not including that. A Hayabusa, I mean, that's crazy fast, but it's like a boat. I think it could be more of a touring than people will give it credit for. So let's kind of stick to the 1000s for now. I mean, the 14 could probably get in there, but those huge bikes are just like boats, and I don't consider those good looking at all, or I hate the look of them, and I feel like they're actually a lot more comfortable than people give them credit for. So let's hear your opinions on the leader bikes. Would you ever get one? What's your opinion now? How long have you been riding? Give me a little backstory of, you know, why you guys are giving your opinions you're giving, aside from, you know, just hearing people say, oh, leader bikes are bad, or oh, leader bikes are the best. Let's hear kind of what's on your mind and what's your reasoning for coming to your conclusions. So till the next time, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.